Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you here today with Bob Klein from the California Pistachio Research Board. I'm here to talk about a critical issue in the industry, Navel Orangeworm. I know growers have heard a lot about this pest, but we can't talk enough about it because it is the number one pest of tree nuts in California. And year after year, we're getting, we continue to have problems with it. We have more hosts for this pest with the increasing amount of pistachio, almond, and even walnut acreage, as well as other crops like pomegranates or figs or things like that. That will harbor this pest. It'll move from crop to crop. But wanted to talk specifically about something that is in our power, and that's winter sanitation. What can we do, Bob, to? I want to go a little step by step here about right after harvest. Obviously, everybody gets tired and they want to take a break. The trees obviously want to break, but we still got to be on guard for how we can deal with this pest and mitigate damage for the coming year. So what can they do in the winter, like right after harvest?
First, I'll say that Dr. Joel Siegel is much more of an expert on that matter than I am. But as he gave in a talk yesterday, he points out the need to get the nuts down on the ground as early as possible, so they have the greatest amount of time to have mortality and take advantage of any wetness in the soil that you possibly have. The nuts on the navel orangeworm in a nut on the ground is 3 times less likely to survive than one in a tree. So just getting them on the ground is a great thing to do.
And would that apply to almonds as well as pistachios?
Yes, that goes across from both pistachios and almonds. But you get them on the ground, you get as much out of the tree as you can. With almonds, you have a bit of easier time because you can see the nuts in the tree, especially after the leaves come off, and you know what's up there, and almost all of them are filled. With pistachios, you have a lot of blanks, and so it's a little bit more problematic to know how many actual nuts you have up in the tree.
Right.
But anyhow, you need to get them on the ground, then preferably blown off the berm into the drive row, where you either can till them in, mow them, or have some other way to remove them from the orchard. But once you get them on the ground, they're much more likely to suffer winter mortality. You want to get it in there as quickly as you can, not wait until February, because almost all winter mortality occurs before the middle part of February. So you need to be in there early. Obviously, middle part of February starts to get kind of late for almonds anyway. But with pistachios, you still could shake at that point. But shaking them out of the tree, getting them out of the tree crotches so they're not just hung up there, and getting them on the ground, ground up or tilled in, is the critical thing to do.
Yeah, no. When you're shaking them off the tree, is it? Can you get it off with one pass? I know some people might delay and wait till the nuts get heavy from rain or whatever to get them off the tree, but we're just not getting those early winter fall rains that we have historically in the past. So we can't wait, right?
And if we get them in the spring, then it's going to be too late to shake. And if you wait until after you get the rains, then you might not be able to get your equipment into the field to shake. So you really want to. It's not doesn't make it easier to do it when the nuts are dry, obviously, but you probably want to make sure that you get out there, even taking advantage of any dew or anything like that, to get a better control on to get a better shake, but take advantage of the conditions as they exist.
And is this something that if you do it at the right time, you can get it in one shake, or you see growers doing it, going through and doing multiple times, or?
I think one shake should be adequate. I don't think it's a multiple shake issue. One shake should do it.
Yeah, so one shake, then we can do this, right? As an industry.
It's entirely achievable. It just takes a good mindset and a bit of labor.
Now, growers might be concerned. With young orchards, you're shaking them, at harvest, and we really put the trees through a lot, during the year. And is it appropriate, or is there? I realize there's some concern about the health of the actual tree. With maybe shaking, harvest and then coming in and shaking it again later. Is there some concern there?
Well, I know that the bark on young trees tends to be more tender than the bark on the older trees, so you're worried about barking issues as you're shaking. I can't speak so much for almonds. Pistachios generally tend to be more tolerant. Our bud union is higher up, and so we can escape that bud union thing and we get a better shake on it. But with young trees, if their trees are that small, you probably can do a pretty good job poling them as well, knocking them out of the tree with a pole, for that matter.
Right. Yeah, and hopefully we can afford to do that, especially with what's at stake here as an industry, right?
Both almonds and pistachios are looking at much larger harvests in the future with all those acres that are going in, and making sure we can meet market demand, especially in the high price, the markets that will pay high prices for them, like Europe. We need to make sure that we have low insect damage and low aflatoxin potential.
Great. Well, thank you, Bob. We definitely hope that growers will take this to heart, and after harvest this year, that they can implement these measures and do it as a unified approach with their neighbors as well. Because if you're doing it but your neighbors aren't, well, then you'll see the results of that later, unfortunately. But thank you for taking the time again. Read more about these things in Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.